Hi, I'm Debbie. Tonight I'm not scared of shadows. Want to know why? 'Cause Pastor Tim told us a super brave story today. It's about a boy and a giant and 5 sparkly rocks. Once, there was a boy named David. He wasn't big like my daddy. He was small like Timmy from my class. David loved music, and he had an instrument called a harp. David had a bunch of sheepies too, fuzzy, baaing sheepies that followed him everywhere. He'd lead them over hills and through sunny fields, singing songs to God. One morning, David's daddy called, "David, I need you to take these cheese sandwiches to your brothers at the army place. They must be hungry, and I want to hear how they're doing." So David packed up the bread and cheese and set off with a smile. David, in his usual happy manner, arrives at the army place, but the army place was super scary, and the soldiers were afraid because guess what? There was a giant there. His name was Goliath. He was as tall as our church steeple, maybe even taller. His armor clanked and shone in the sun, and his voice boomed like thunder rolling across the sky. Every day, he stomped out into the field and shouted mean, awful things about God's people. It made everyone shake with fear. "Is there no one among you brave enough to face me?" he asked, mocking the Israelite army. He dared anyone to come fight with him in the battle. Goliath walked around with his very long legs and arms holding a very long sword. The Israelite soldiers hid in their tents, their fear getting worse as Goliath's voice boomed across the valley. Even the king was hiding in his fancy tent. Soldiers peeked out from behind rocks, too, unnoticed. Young David stands near the entrance, his expression growing darker as he listens. And do you know what David said? "Hey, why is everybody so scared?" The soldier said to him, "Did you not see the giant?" But David said, "God is way bigger than that giant." Everyone looked at him funny. The king even offered David shiny armor and promised him gold and a big reward if he could beat Goliath. David steps forward, his voice ringing with so much confidence. "I will go and fight this Goliath." King Saul looked at him with shock. You? You are but a very young boy, and the giant has been a soldier for a long time." David told the king of all the times he had to do something brave. The times when a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, and how he rescued the sheep each time. David said, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this giant." King Saul gave David his heavy armor so he could go fight. But the armor was heavy and clunky. David couldn't even walk in it. So he took it off and stood there, small and brave. I think David's heart went thump-thump too, but he remembered something special. God always helps us, even when we feel small and a little bit scared. So David did not pick up a sword. Nope, he didn't want heavy armor or a sharp blade. Instead, he walked down to a shiny, bubbling river and picked out 5 smooth little rocks. They were round and cool, like the pretty stones I hide under my pillow at night. Then he grabbed his sling, kind of like the one I use in my toy cooking kit to flip pretend pancakes. Swoosh! It whirled around in his hand. David was ready. He trusted God more than anything else. Goliath, in his mountain of armor, saw little David walking towards him and laughed. "You want to come fight me with sticks?" he asked, making fun of David. Then David yelled real loud, "You come at me with swords and spears, but I come with God's name." All the soldiers held their breath as David loads a stone into his slingshot. David spun his sling around and around, faster and faster. Whip! One little rock zipped through the air, and boink! It smacked the giant right on the forehead. Goliath's eyes went wide. He wobbled like a giant tree in the wind, and then whoomp! He crashed down flat, just like when my teddy bear falls off the bed. The Israelite soldiers were shocked. God helped David's small hands be so brave. Because with God, even little can be mighty. With a happy shout, David raised the large sword, a symbol of victory. The Philistine soldiers were shocked and started to run away. King Saul just stood there, eyes wide and mouth hanging open, completely stunned. The Israelite army was so happy they had won the battle, their happy voices echoing through the land. And everyone cheered. God saved us! David trusted and God did it! The end. So tonight, remember this. You can be brave because God is always with you. Even when things feel big or loud or a little bit scary, God's right there, holding your hand. Let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you that you're bigger than my scary things like thunder or Mrs. Mabel's grumpy cat. Help me be brave like David, 'cause you hold my hand super tight. And thank you for my 5 sparkly rocks under my pillow. They remind me you always win. Amen.